Podcasts on unctv.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNCTV.
North Carolina Zoo Director Dr. David Jones has received the 2011 Chairman's Award from the Pan-African Associations of Zoos and Aquaria for his efforts to modernize, refurbish, and rebuild the historic Giza Zoo in Cairo, the National Zoo of Egypt. Dr. Jones recently stopped by our studios to talk about his work, the recognition, and the ongoing projects and mission of the North Carolina Zoo. Dr. David Jones, always a pleasure to have you back here on North Carolina Now.
Thank you, Mitch.
Well, in addition to you being the director of the North Carolina Zoo, you have many roles, including your association with the Pan-African Association of Zoos and Aquaria. Tell our viewers, what's the purpose of this organization?
Well, you know, around the world, every region, a continent, and America has it, Europe has it, they have an association which sets particular standards for the zoos. And the Pan-African Zoo Association looks after really the interests of most, not all, of the zoos in Africa. It's based in southern Africa, and its role largely is to maintain and then slowly improve standards.
What are some of the challenges facing zoos, say, in Africa compared to the zoos here in the United States?
It's huge. You know, we think there are about 10,000 zoos in the world, something like that, of which only 1,000, 10%, actually have some form of regular inspection. So 90% of the world's zoos are way below standard. And of course, in time, we would like to sort of bring that up to an international standard. Now, most of the zoos in Africa, apart from South Africa, are well below the standards that normally one would expect, say, in Europe and America. So it's a real challenge, and especially in countries, third world countries, where they really don't have the budget to be able to maintain animals, you know, in a satisfactory way.
The North Carolina Zoo has been involved with many zoos around the world. How do you go about helping these zoos try to bring up their standards?
Well, I'm one of the hats that I wear is co-chairman of the Welfare and Ethics Committee of the World Zoo Association, and one of the objectives of that committee is to do just that, to try to bring up standards all around the world. Now, we've had, in the North Carolina Zoo, we've had long associations, particularly with the Middle East, with Kenya and with West Africa, with Cameroon. And I just happen personally to have had long associations with Cairo. When I ran London Zoo, most of the Middle East zoos had something to do with London in terms of design or construction or stocking of zoos. So through really the old associations that I had, we have many connections with that part of the world.
And you mentioned Cairo, and connected with that, congratulations are in order because you have been selected as, well, received the 2011 Chairman's Award for the from the Pan-African Association of Zoos and Aquaria. What was that like?
Well, that was given for the preliminary work that we've been doing on Cairo Zoo. You'll laugh at this one, but 40 years ago, I was asked to go and literally cut the giraffe's toenails at Cairo Zoo. And I was a young vet out of London Zoo. And so went at a time when capture, you know, rifles and dart guns were very new. And I went and trained the roughly 20 vets at Cairo Zoo in these techniques. And ever since then, and I spent 3 weeks and sort of worked with a lot of animals, a lot of staff at that time. And ever since then, I've kept connection with them. But unfortunately, about 8 years ago, they were expelled from the World Zoo Association for poor standards, lowered standards. And so the last 3 years, and you'll remember that we had a lot to do with dealing with Kabul Zoo and then help with Baghdad Zoo, so a lot of experience with that type of work. And now we're trying to do the same with Cairo Zoo, very historic zoo, over 100 years old, and bring that up to standards that will get it back in the World Zoo Association again.
Now, are there any other modernization projects you're working on right now?
Well, we're obviously looking, what I'm hoping to do is to set up permanent staffing under the World Zoo Association to try and make this a global effort to look at, we're constantly getting complaints about poor standard zoos all over the place. So on the welfare side, North Carolina Zoo is one of the world leaders on animal welfare and setting those standards. Now, in the zoo itself, of course, we have a big new polar bear facility just getting under construction now. We're finishing a large antelope facility that we started work on 2 years ago. So despite all the state budgets, we're still working to extend our own zoo.
And talking about the state budget, because the budget is very tight right now,
It is.
how will this affect your operations at the North Carolina Zoo?
Well, I mean, we will have to take a cut like all other state departments. My worry particularly is that although we're a state institution, we're also a business. And it doesn't matter what mum on a Thursday evening typically will decide to go and do with the kids at the weekend. She doesn't care whether it's a state institution or not. So we have to maintain good standards. You know, most of the people that come because they hear it word of mouth. About 40% probably hear it because it's the next door neighbour says it was a great day out. So our concern is to maintain, absolutely be sure that we maintain standards. So routine maintenance, repairing things like buses, trams, all of that stuff, those are the things that really concern me in terms of budget cuts, but we'll deal with it.
And recently you had an announcement about a new addition coming to the zoo.
We did, very exciting. In over 20 years, it's been over 20 years since Kwanzaa, the little gorilla, was born, 1989, and that was a real sensation for the zoo. He's now up in Chicago. Still with us and living with a harem of females in Lincoln Park, Chicago. And we now have a pregnancy in a younger female, 11 years old, Jemani, who came from San Diego. And, you know, the interesting thing about animal management now, with animals like gorillas, a zoo may not even own those animals. We don't own any of our gorillas. They're all on loan to us through the national sort of system, it's called the Species Survival Plan, which decides on how to maintain a population of gorillas, elephants, polar bears, whatever it may be. And all our animals are on loan. But with this case, we're expecting a birth probably in early August.
We've talked about the state issue, but my question to you, how important are volunteers to the North Carolina Zoo?
Oh, they're critical. They are to any institution like us. We have about 300 active volunteers. I suppose you'd have to reckon that about half of those are with us more or less every week, and then of course you get variations in the amount of time people can give us. We're always looking for new volunteers. Training programs go on throughout the year. We concentrate them at the end of the winter, you know, in readiness for the next season. And typically, I think this time we had about 100 volunteers, prospective volunteers, under training, and some will decide they don't want to stay with us, and others will come and be with us for many years. And that group, amazingly, does 40,000 hours between them every year in volunteer work. So we're always interested in keen people to volunteer with us.
So if folks want to volunteer or else find out more about the North Carolina Zoo, where do they need to go?
Just go straight to the website, nczoo.org, and you'll find there, you can go straight to the volunteers, or you can ring our number at the zoo education block, and one of the education staff, we have a person in charge of volunteers, and they'll be very willing to chat to you and tell you what it's all about.
Dr. David Jones, Director of the North Carolina Zoo in Asheboro, as always, thank you for stopping by. Congratulations on your award and continued success to you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Podcasts on unctv.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC TV.